All right, hello guys. Welcome to the YouTube channel. A lot of you been asking about how to use this Discord, and it's been the number one concern of everyone talking about how to use this Discord and how exactly the tools work and where to start. Now we got so many places that you can start, but I just wanted to show you guys a new tool that I think that would really help a lot of you guys go ahead and take some of these files that comes from these channels and be able to actually see what's going on with them. So I've released a new tool. It's called my signal card reader. So basically the concept of this is being able to take everything that's in that file and breaking it down for you guys. Because let me tell you guys my mindset. A lot of you come in here and ask, can I get the plays? Where are the plays? This system is not designed to get you plays. And when I say that, I don't want you to think that, hey, the system does not work. No. This system is more like a judge. It gives you all the evidence that the reason why a market moved, what you think the reason why a market moved, the prediction side of it, everything that Vegas talks about, or the reason why Vegas moves their line, this is what this shows you. So it's taking what those companies do and they don't release on their website, and it's literally making it visible so you can see it. So this is a new tool, and I definitely want you guys to learn how to use this, because if you learn how to use this tool, then I promise you, you won't be telling people which props do I play. You won't be on Facebook saying, hey, where do I get the plays from? You won't be looking at anybody to tell. You will be making your own props. I promise you. I get it. Some of you guys think that it's hard, but it's really not too hard. I'm learning it just like you guys are, but I'm learning it a little faster and being able to put it to the actual website to display for you guys. So I just wanted to talk about a little thing that I talked about in my last video, was that every file is going to have a story. That file is going to tell you what the market is doing, or what you predicted it's going to do. That prop to go over or under. That's just how it is. There's only two lenses. When someone makes a bet, you're either going to say, hey, based on what I know this person is doing or did, which direction it's going to go, or you're going to say, hey, the market is moving down, the market is moving up. This is actually affecting the line movement, so this is where I'm going to lean. So you definitely need both of them to actually play a part of it. So now I'm going to get into exactly how to use this. So I actually switched over to my premium side. It has a little bit extra stuff that the free version doesn't have, but that doesn't take away that it's the exact same thing. So I wanted to come over here and then go ahead and search an example of how we can kind of talk about what's going on here. Alright, so we have this line right here. We got 15.5 for his points. You can see right here clearly that it says the market moved down, the model moved down. It says canary, meaning that, hey, there's some books that move first. The early books move first. Mixed signals, green. We'll talk about that a little bit later. So the market signals right here are very important for you to know. You got canary, DFS, divergence, harmony, reversal, whipsaw. All of these are explained in my Discord, and I advise you to come over here and you do these things to learn these terms, because no one's gonna hold your hand through this. I'm giving you everything you need. A lot of you, come in here and say, where do I start? Well, this is the first place I always recommend starting, hitting that guide right there, and then you can actually see what these signals mean. You don't have to be the best, smartest person out there. I'm not even the best, smartest person out there. But it's easy to remember these things when you know what they're doing. Steams, the books move together. The books with the money. Sharp consensus, those are the books that have the money that agree on a direction. Follow, keep with that move, reverse, come back. So these are all things that's right here. Now, I definitely wanted to talk about a little bit more about these right here, but we'll come back to this. So these are where you want to come and download these files to the website. When you download the files to the website, it will show you exactly what's in these files, because you cannot believe everything this thing says. This is an AI at the bottom. This intelligence report is an AI. So it cannot always accurately tell you what's going on, and might even get some things confused sometimes. That's just how it is. That's the way the world works right now. You get an AI to do something, they drift, they hallucinate. That's just it when it comes to these AI that I'm using in particular. However, the data is sound. If you actually look at the data, then you will be able to see that what is happening, instead of relying on the AI to tell you, hey, this says market moved up, lean up. I mean, I'm not saying that's not the case, but you need to be able to see what the market is saying, and I am giving you the tools to do that. If you go into these files, which I'm not going to actually talk about what's in there, I described how to do it in my last video, but these show you the truth. You can download these files to any AI and they will be able to tell you exactly what's going on. Now, we're going to come back over here before we download it. We're going to talk about exactly what's going on with the market signals. If I'm being honest with you guys, when I look at this, I don't really pay attention to everything. I kind of just glance at it and I kind of just pattern match it. And after a while, you will be able to do it too. These things are so color coded that you see things and you can automatically tell, like, hey, this code and this code right here does not add together. So we got edge quality. Edge quality is, first of all those things right there, edge quality, pattern memory, overlearning, will all be referring to the model direction. So if the model direction is under and it says 61.5% on the model direction, it's saying, hey, this is going under. You know, this, we support the under on this. And just to clarify the terms, because I know a lot of you won't actually get what these terms mean, the best way I can describe it is edge quality is, okay, if the market direction is under, how has the market moved to support this direction? That's going to be edge quality. That's the environment. Now you have pattern memory, which is going to tell you, how does this player usually perform at this line? So that's just the history. You know, you got the boards and you got the box scores. How many times does it usually go over or under this particular line right here? And then you got overlearning, which is how sticky that tendency is over time. That's how reliable that is. So that's kind of the strength bucket of that. So if I'm looking at this, I made myself a cheat sheet. I personally made myself a cheat sheet. So, and this is released to premium, but you do not need to do it this way. I made a cheat sheet that's tell you, if you take the edge quality, the pattern memory, and the overlearning, it will tell you kind of where the direction is going, whether you should follow it light. The market is disagreeing with your follow, so that's going to be like a contrarian follow, whether you should hold it, fade it, or a hard fade. So that's kind of how I made a chart for myself. So looking at this, just looking at my cheat sheet, if I have edge quality medium, pattern memory high, and overlearning memory high, I got medium, high. On my chart, it tells me medium, high means follow, but reduce the size. So it's telling you to be cautious of this. It's saying, hey, this is a good shot, but you know, this can be a coin flip. So you can follow the movement, just be careful. So that's why you come in and you do other contexts. So if you come down here, this part right here, I've released this part to both my website and my free tier. So this is what you need to come over here and do, because if you come down here and you rely on this right here, this is only talking about the birth line. So let's say if you come over here and the birth line is 15.5. However, if you look down here and you're betting on Prize Picks and it's 15, or underdogs and it's 14.5, then you need to come over here and you need to recalibrate it, because the things that it's going to be different when you recalibrate it. Right now, it says that this environment does not look good for the under. If you recalibrate it, it still doesn't look good, but you can see that other things have changed on here. So it's not just the same. So if I even did it to 14.5, if I was on underdogs and I bet it, see, now I'm at 57% hit rate on the under on this right here. So that's actually telling you right here that the under looks good. But it just depends on where you're betting. It truly just depends on where you're betting, because when you get certain things like that edge environment, that edge quality, that can depend on which sports book that you're betting on. So I know that most people on here are on Prize Picks, so I would keep it at default 15 because that's what it's doing. Now you got low, or I really call that medium. 47.5 is like a gray area. That's still close enough to 50 for me to say. I guess it's just how you see it. But for me and my purposes only, I'm still call that medium because it's still close enough. So that says medium, high, high. That's telling you to fade it. Follow it. So if the market direction is under and my little cheat code is telling you to fade or follow, sorry, I keep getting the terms confused, then this is telling you to follow that under. Now you come over here and you see all the things that determine an under for the market, the model side. And these are just basically things that are going to be decisions on whether you determine something's going to go over or under at all. That is what you decide. So you look at last 5 averages, you see that under. Last 10 averages, all these play a part. So the weights and what they carry actually play a part too, but you don't have to pay attention to these things. So when I show you all these things, I just want to let you know some of these things are not necessary for you to choose a direction. Some of these things are like extra refinements to help you decide whether to lean over or lean under. And when I tell you guys this, hey, this system is designed to help you decide, that does not say that, hey, we don't give you the direction, because we do. We make it scream in your face, but we also acknowledge the fact that every given day, if Vegas makes things 50-50, then it's going to be cases for both of them. So to ignore a case is almost being biased in a way. So that's why I give you everything here. And just because you see right here 3 over 9 under, it's pushing under, that doesn't necessarily mean that this is going to go under. That's why you get all the context involved. So a lot of red flags here to me, but what I've been doing recently is this. I noticed that we take last 5 average, and what we do is we literally do that. We do the average, but we don't see how much they actually clear that line. So if you go over to my website here, and this is free for everyone, what I like to do is like to come over here. You can come over here and this will give you a good visual graph. And this is actually for today. And this lets you know what's happening in real time. But it's better to use my signal reader for my website if you are a premium user, because the difference between the signal card here and the free one is that you are able to search and you're able to get the live lines versus just getting the file version, because lines do change, and then the recalibration, they recalibrate based on the line. Your season average is going to be different depending on if the line changed. But see, I go over here and I scroll down. and I look over here. So actually, let me switch the date because this is the wrong date right now. So I switched it to the 22nd because right now we're doing the 22nd. I don't want to do today's dates yet. And you see that the 22nd, well, we're going to look from the 21st. So we look at his last 5 right there. Points, he's clearing that a lot of that time. You know, if you just filter this down the last 5, it's actually not that bad. That would have been empty for today, so you would have been looking for the last 5 and it would have been 18. So he's actually cleared, or he's came close to clearing his line if his line is 15.5. So actually, I'm looking at the wrong category. How about we go to the right category? That's why it looked a little confusing. There we go. There we go. So you see that he's actually came close to clearing his line a lot of times, but he did not clear his line. And this overlearning hit rate, don't get confused. This is actually going to be referring to the under. It doesn't tell you all the information, so you really got to have both devices being used. But so now I see that his last 5 is pretty much under. He only cleared it once, so I see what the signal is talking about now. So now I'm having everything in here say under, 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 under. And I have this edge quality. That edge quality is the only thing that says, hey, this is under, but this doesn't look good for the environment right now. This doesn't set it up. It's not saying don't take the under. It's saying, hey, this didn't set this up properly. So if this is me, I'm looking at the over case here. Over is pace, and that's, you know, over on pace means better opportunity. So that's going to give you that. And then you got teammates, which is just like, hey, the teammate is out, he's going to get more boosted, which I don't really pay a factor in, but you do need to know that because that does impact it. And then you have recent form, which is, hey, you know, is he trending up from how he was doing? It's not saying, hey, this is his last 5. Is he trending up or is he trending down? It's like a cold streak detector or a hot streak detector in a way. So now you see that he's trending up on his recent line, and the game is probably going to be a little faster paced. However, you see everything points under. Even the pattern memory and over learning memory support the under because the model direction is under. You see that you look anything else up here, you don't really see anything else. And hey, the only thing else you probably would need to pay attention to that's not really on here right now, that it's the spread, because that's gonna determine a lot. But that can be determined in game environment right there. Game environment reads directly from the spread, and it lets us know that, hey, that spread is kind of on blowout territory. That's not a close game. And so we'll see if there's actually been a blowout. But if I wanted to see what happened with this now, me, with all the evidence, has just chosen the under with his points. That's what I choose. Now I'm going to go see what he came out to. All right, so we come over here and we look at this, and wow, was that close. This is exactly what we were talking about with that edge quality. It said, hey, the under looked good, but it didn't really set it up right now. And if you look at his recent form, you see that, hey, he's actually trending up. So the fact that he actually barely missed that 15.5, and if you're on your underdogs, you know, then you're out of luck. But this actually locked in. As you know, it depends on where you locked it in, and this doesn't actually show the final line all the time. So if the lines are 15 right here, it just depends on where you locked it in. So that's the variance part on it. You know, if you locked it in when it was 15.5 on Prize Picks, then you hit it. But if you got it then when it got to, you know, 15 when it was right before game time, then hey, you know, you pushed. And if you got it on underdogs, hey, You lost. So actually, I had it on. Yeah. Hey, you lost. So there's nothing you can do about that. All right. So I wanted to come over here and show you guys how it's done from the channel, and show you how to use this file. Now, there's truly multiple ways to use this file. There's truly a lot of ways to go about it. I mean, there's so many slash commands that can help you and help you watch and see what's going on, everything. But what I wanted to talk to you about is how to download these Johnsons. I like to call them Johnsons, but putting them inside the signal reader so you can able to see exactly what's going on. So let's take somebody that's from yesterday. I'm going to filter by date. Just going to choose somebody here. Let's see. All right. So we're going to take that file, right? And I'm going to show you two things here. I'm going to show you the difference between the premium and the website. And just to let you guys know, you don't need both to be able to tell the direction. Or I shouldn't say, you don't need the premium to feel obligated to be able to tell the direction. Now, looking at this, I'm looking at Jaylen Brown. I'm looking at his assist at 4.5. I can see that the market is up from it. I can see that the model is over on it. So then I look at the signs, canary and all these signs that we talk about. You want to know the purple? The purple are like the regime drivers, what actually is the reason for this line to move. And then you got the spreads move up, and then you got the spreads aligned with the move of the prop. So the props moved up and the spreads moved up. And then you got the total move down, which is the team total down. And then the total opposed props. That means that the team total went down, and then the opponent's props went down as well. So they're saying, hey, there's something happening with the Boston Celtics, and there's definitely something about to happen with the Lakers. I mean, this is literally a sign of what's happening. And then money line pressures, meaning that the money line affected the prop as well. So it might have been in favor of Boston, or against Boston, who knows? I don't know the date, exactly what happened yesterday. But this is able to tell you right here, this plus 277 delta. And if you don't know what any of these terms are, like I said, you can download this file, take it to AI, be like, hey, the guy said ML delta is this. What can you tell me about this? Total delta is negative 14. Like, tell me about this. You don't really need to know all this stuff, because this is not something I look at, but this is one of the things that are extra information that, hey, if you knew, it would help you. And then you see right here, this will never tell you the full story. So you have PP that moved up to a 0.5, so he moved up to a 5. He was at 4.5, so he moved up once. You got DK that's at 7.5. When you see things like this, you have to look at the lines, because sometimes books be doing things behind the scenes, and our detector, which detects line movement, might pick it up as like, hey, 4.5 to 7.5. We picked this up as steam, but this one didn't, and goodly. But so we come down here, like I said, you hit that recalibration again, 7.5. So this is the free version, and this doesn't really tell you too much, but it tells you, hey, wait, first we got to recalibrate it, because it's not at 7.5. It's at, if you were betting on Prize Picks, it's at 5. So we recalibrate it actually. So now you got his last 5 over that, his last 10 over that, and then him against the Lakers is over that as well. His away, this just means that how much he usually averages on the road, and that's just normal. So all this, you have is delta going over everything. You come down here, see the player versus team is above. You see that the calibration neutral, that just means that, hey, if it's green, that means that, hey, we're supporting the over more. We're factoring in things that need to be factored in, so we're pushing it over. If this was net delta and it was negative, negative calibration, it would be, hey, we're pushing the over under a little bit. But to speak about what this is, negative delta and weighted delta are very important. I mentioned this in my earlier video. Net delta is going to be the weight of all these modules combined. This is going to be like, hey, all the things that could influence a decision on prediction. This is the net delta. And in the weighted delta, if you look at things that are important right here, like, hey, defense below average is 0.05. That's one of the highest ones right there, along with, hey, look at the player versus team is actually the highest ones up here. All these right here, the 0.1, 0.15, 0.15. Like, those are the ones that carry the most weight. And then you get edge depth. And remember, like I told you, this is just the environment that it's in. It doesn't necessarily say go under. It just says, hey, the environment it's in, it doesn't really benefit the over. And it's right, you know, it didn't move up, it didn't move down. PP moved up once, and to everything else on this free side, it's, you know, it's stagnant. So the market moved up but barely, and now you have all his modules over here pointing over. Now this doesn't necessarily mean that he's gonna go over, because like I said, there's two sides to every story. And if you really want to decide if he's gonna go under, you look at his under modules and you say, hey, what really sways me to go under on this? And the really thing that sways you under is like, hey, slower pace, pace neutrals is red, so it means slower pace, less shots opportunities. And then you have edge depth, which is, hey, this doesn't look like a good setup. You know, like you're watching stocks, you watch it to wait till it gets across VWAP, bounces off VWAP, and then keeps going. That's your setup right there. It's not a good setup. So, but the difference between this, the free version, and the premium version, and just to wrap this up, this is telling you the lean over. This is what it's telling you on his assist. But to wrap this up, the difference between this and the free version, which, like I said, I'm not taking away, what it does is this. You upload that file here. So now you got everything. So let me see if you adjust. See if actually it does have everything on this one. I think I might have to switch the mode. So you actually have a lot more on here. So it's a lot more broken down. You'll see a lot more green here. But you get this another one called expected versus actual. And I didn't really talk about that one the first time around, but that's pretty much how the player is expected to do on the court versus how he is off the court. When his opponent is on the court, off the court. So this matches whoever he's facing, and then it says, hey, when, let's say he's facing Lakers, when LeBron's on the court, he scores this amount. When LeBron's off the court, he scores this. You know, so this is negative, so he's expected to do less. So now you really try to push the under in your idea. If you sway away, I always say try to push the other way. Got pace neutral, negative, edge depth, negative. Now look at this right here. You got edge quality, medium, pattern memory, high, over learning, medium. So this is actually different from the other one. So you got medium, high, medium. Medium, high, medium is a follow on my chart. So it's telling you to follow this direction. But the difference between premium, and this is the main thing, you really want to be able to search exactly who he is, because that is going to give you the current line on where the system is at. So we got a 7.5 again. We see PP move to 5 still, but a lot of these things can be different, but it's also repriced here. So we still got low. Now we got low, medium, high, but that's because it's reading off the wrong sports book and DraftKings, and that's too high. If you're taking DraftKings over right there, that's too much. But we do it on here. recalibrate it. And you see a lot more detail now. Season average is under, last 10 is average is under. This is where I would fact check. This is where I would go to the website and fact check. So a lot of tools that you can get right here, because a lot of this is, look, recent form volatile. That means that he's recently been trending up. So he's been hot and he's been recently trending up. His net delta and his weighted delta are positive. It's a lot of things. You can go to the website from here. You could type Jaylen Brown. I'm gonna come over here and we're gonna filter for that day. So you actually see why his last 10 was kind of below. If you go over here, last 10 below, 1, 2, 3. So it doesn't necessarily mean that he scored below those lines that time. It just means that, hey, his average out of all these are below his average of the line. So it's important to know, and it's important to be on the right category too. So there you go. So now you got a little better definition of why it said that the season average in the last 10 were under. But you do have a little bit more detail on why it says that the recent volatility was trending upwards, because his last 2 and that last 3 period is going up. And then you come over here and assist and you look at how many times he's gone over on the Lakers, and you look and you see 8. He went over 8 times, and then 7, and then 2. So basically, out of 3 meetings, he's been over twice. So it's really hard to push the under on here. And then you come over here and look what he got for his box scores, and look, 7 assists. And this is why it's daily on which sports book you bet on. Because if you were on DraftKings, and let's say that's your primary platform, and you're in this chat, and you come over here and you go to DraftKings, and they have a line at 7.5, and everybody else is at 5, and you take that line at 7.5, and now he hit 7. The system wasn't wrong. That's variance. There's nothing you can do about that. So if you stayed this long, great, because I have one more lesson for you, and it's almost a teaser on what I'm working on, but it also relates to this. So I've been working on something that can link everything together, and I wanted to show you guys an example of how it could be used. So I wanted to take a file, Anthony Black, and I wanted to kind of go through it and see what it's telling me and where I can do. One thing I do to kind of learn my system is I go back to past days. I just pick a random person, look at what the system's telling me, and then I go ahead and see if I can predict which direction it's going, and I check the box scores. And if I got it right, then I know I'm doing it right. And if I got it wrong, then I don't blame the system. What I say is, hey, the system truly does give you everything. So if that's the case, what did I miss? Because if I see what I missed, then I don't miss again, because it's all pattern matching. So I want to come over to Anthony Black, 19.5 PA. I want to talk about this and see here we have the model going down, market going up. Don't have really got a lot of details, but you see tension, meaning that there's disagreement between the market and the model, and then reversal. The line went down, then up again. So that's probably what happened here when this file came out. So I'm actually going to go to his actual stats here. See, Anthony Black's PA. There it goes, the very first one. So now look at this. You got the market moving up, and then the model percent going down, the EQ being low, pattern memory high. So what this is telling me right now, just by looking at it, I can tell that, hey, the setup on the under has not been good. But the pattern memory says that, hey, he has a good chance of going under. But the market is moving up on this. So I want to get a little bit better understanding of what's going on. So I made a file that I'm probably going to start giving to Discord at some point. And I wanted to see exactly what it was doing. So this is a brand new Perplexity chat. You can do this into ChatGPT too. And just ChatGPT saves memory. So if I use him, it's biased. So this is a brand new chat. I take this file, right? And let's see what it's called. Anthony. I see. This file is about Anthony Black movement. Can you tell me what's going on with it? So I'm gonna let him read it and tells me, and let's see what he says. So basically, it says open line versus current line. It went from 19.5 to 20.5. Some books went 20.5 to 19.5. So that doesn't say that the market moved up. That's saying that, hey, it's messing around. The line delta column, which is in charge from the previous line, meaning that that birth line moved up once. That's pretty much what the line birth data means. The book charge or some similar column shows how many times that book adjusted its line. So you can from this file see how the movement of history of this whole thing, what happened throughout the whole day with this thing. And so you just go down, so we're not focusing on this because you can be able to do it. And it's basically showing, if you read this, at least one book shows 20.5 to 19.5 negative data, meaning it's intentionally went higher, but then got back down. That is a key right there. And so that's why the files that goes to Discord cannot always properly tell you what's going on. I'm inventing something. But the website that updates, it does tell you what's going on in a way. Like I said, you don't need to know this information, but this is something that I'm working on that's going to help you. So he said, if you mean by sway, you can decide which way to bet and how to bet at time. This is how you use it. If most books have moved up to 19.5 to 25.5, but you can still find 19.5, that 19.5 is over, it's typically sharper. If books have moved down from 20.5 to 19.5, while others stayed at 20.5, that may be a signal to resist the over there, and the over might be worse number that the sharp action implies. That is the key right there. So, and then look, he gives you the breakdown, because at the end of the day, it's your interpretation, but it's not your interpretation, because that makes it seem like it's random. It's literally facts. When one book is a 19.5 and the other's at 20.5 at the same time, there's an arbitration. Look, CLV's signal. You want to bet low lines over and high lines if it's under. That is the case. If you look at it like this, what I look at it is stocks. The line started off at 19.5. It tested 20.5 multiple times throughout multiple platforms, but ultimately it rejected, and some ended at 20.5 and some ended at 19.5. So let me see. Anthony Black, PRA. PA. You should have more books than this showing, but basically, so you take that and say, if I was on Prize Picks, I'm on 19.5 now. So you got the season average in the last 10 above. That looks good. But look at this. You got the last 5 and the player versus team down. You got the pace down, the home and away. When he's home, or when he's away, he's usually down. So he's away at the Lakers, I believe, or if I don't even know if we're still in the same file, but regardless, he's away. It says the game environment neutral. His teammate is out, so he's getting a boost. I think that's Paulo, so he's getting that boost. Line movement went down. Recent form is trending down. So it might say, so not only is his last 5 average down, his recent form is also trending down. Let's go see how he looks over here. If I can spell Jalen or Brown right. I'm on the wrong person. Anthony Black. So I go to his PA and I look at his line for yesterday. And I see that, hey, we're only looking at the last 5 before. So you're looking at the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So in 2 in his last 5, he does go over on this. So it's not necessarily bad. I mean, 3 of his last 5. So that's why I say you really got to come to the website to really see, because averages and what it actually says are different. Just because he averaged under that line in his last 5, that doesn't mean that he went all under. You see that he still went over that line 4 times, or in this case it's 3 times. So then I come over here to where he gets with the Lakers. Line is at the Clippers, sorry. So the line is at 19.5. Remember, we come down here, we look at his PA. We got 12 and 14. And 12 and 4, we got 16. Then we come over here again, we got 17 and 8. So he clears it one time, and he doesn't clear one time. All right, so there's a story to be taught in both. There's not a story in both. So what is the sway? Where do you lean? Well, typically, I see that this one doesn't have the overlearning rules, which it should. But I see that, hey, pattern memory is 63.6. That means that typically he goes over. He hits more on the under because the model is saying under. That's what I see. I see that, hey, his last 5, his player versus team is low. I see that the pace are low. He scores less. I see that 54% on the edge quality now. That means that, hey, on the under, that means 54% on this looks good on the under. The setup looked good. Now, I do see that the net delta and a positive delta is over. However, like it tells you, it's a mismatch right here. So now you just kind of have to figure out, where do you want to go, over or under? Honestly, if it was me, what I would have been deciding on, hey, the edge quality is 54%, pattern memory is 66.7%. They all support the under. You look at the last 5, his under, where he's going recently trending, he's going under his recently last 5, so he's going double under. Now his expected versus actual, he is supposed to perform a little better, but he's been on a recent downfall on this team. So in general, he's trending down, and the pace is a little slower. It doesn't support it at all. So to me, I would either fade this if you weren't sure, but to me, I see this and I say, hey, take the under. And then there you go. You see that he got 13 or actually 12 on his PA. So he did not perform at all good. And yeah, there was a case to be made for a lot of it, okay? There was a case to be made for the over, and there's going to be a case to be made for the under. And that's how everyone goes. You might have somebody's favorite person you're betting against, and he said, no, there's no way. These are all the reasons why. And you say, hey, these are all the reasons why it's going to go under. You're both right, okay? But who's right fits that environment. And that's what I'm trying to be able to teach you guys, because ultimately it's not about, hey, give me the props, give me the plays. If you stayed this long and you watched this video, then you will be successful, because at the end of the day, it's about, based on the evidence that is provided, do I go over or do I go under? because there's going to be a case for both. Some cases are going to be a lot more obvious than others, like that Jalen Green. That showed all green and only showed that the edge quality was negative. It didn't set up the environment. Maybe the books were trying to hide that line. Maybe they knew it was going to hammer, so they didn't push it up or push it down like DraftKings did. And if you notice, DraftKings didn't even push that line down. It stayed the same. It stayed right there, 7.5. So and also I advise you, like, before you lock in the props, if you are free or you're premium, doesn't matter, you come over here and you recalibrate this, because this is going to give you the current stuff. It's going to give you what's new on it. If you take the files from channel 2 and you base all your information from there on channel 2, it's not going to work. But if you come over here and you look at what it's saying, and then you see here, you pick a side, and then you try to see if you can sway yourself to the other side. And if you can't do that, then you know you have a solid side. Or if you are in between and there is a decision maker, like maybe pattern memory will be that decision maker for me, you know. Or in some cases, this is the past, the overlearning just came out today, so in some cases you'll see that overlearning difference as well. Then yeah, that is a good for me take. So if you guys want to know how to work Discord, it truly is not hard, but it's not easy as well. I can't sit here and hold your hand. Some of you might have made it to the end of the video, some of you might have given up, but I'm telling you right now, if you can spread the word and let people know, hey, I'm offering many things for free, but the premium stuff I'm giving you more context, okay? But the things with free, that doesn't stop you from being able to do what you need to do. My website, this is all free right here. These averages, they're all free. I think the advanced stuff, the premium stuff, comes when you get down here into this stuff. But when you become premium or elite, we can tell you a little bit more about this. One thing I want to tell people to be, you can ask about this right here. It should be able to tell you if you ask it, how is a prop doing tonight, or what's the line move on somebody's props. It should be able to tell you exactly, regardless on if you're free or premium, what's happening with that prop now and where that line is at. It's connected to my database, so it's not it's reading everything current, and that's one thing that keeps us fresh. So one thing I recommend, if you take those files from channel 2, you come to the website and then you cross-check exactly where it's at right now. And if you're in premium, I recommend you come here to the signal finder, because you'll have it unlocked with your account. And then you come over here and then you go ahead and type wherever that person is at, because then you're gonna get the current line and see. This is today. This is what we have today. There it goes. Actually, it's not working today. But actually it's right here. It's right here. So you can see right now his PA is at 36.5 for today. And then you see that everything's pointing over, but then you got some under knot modules. A lot of things point over, some things point under. It doesn't set up on it, but pattern memory is 100%. That is the biggest sign ever right there. Pattern memory is 100%, and I need to come over here and make sure we fix overlearning. But yeah, this is really important to have. I recommend you learn how to do this, and if you do learn how to do this, you will be successful, I promise you. So stay tuned to new features. Make sure you come over here on links, and if you haven't seen it already, go ahead and use the websites. They're right here for you to be able to use. And if you want to know how to get premium, just come over here, how to get premium, and we talk about exactly what you need to do to get premium. But don't feel like you're obligated. So stay tuned.